All right, hello everyone. Stephanie Koby here once again with our burning questions and Koby farm history. I gotta hurry up and do this because it's going to storm here and I have to secure some animals. But I thought I'd get it in for my fan base of two people, my mom and my sister Jenny. But so here we go. The burning question of the day: funky add-on of the house. Why? What for? We'll explain that in a minute. The lovely purple window my husband installed there. But let's move on. We're going to talk about the history after the death of George Fuller with the rock boulder. We discussed how he met his demise by a boulder falling on him in 1954. A few years after that, his wife Emily sold the farm, and she sold the farm to Mr. Wally Knopf, and Mr. Knopf ended up actually, as we're walking, we're going to look at these sheds here because they're part of our story here. We got a couple sheds, some goats, Tom the goat, who needs a brushing, and Giselle. Chickens inside. Oh, one chicken's locked outside. I should probably let her in. Anyways, so these sheds here, as you can see, are up on some stones. And here's Mr. You can't see it. Behind these pine trees is another homestead. You can kind of see him through there. That eventually was Mr. Knopf's homestead from here. I believe part of the property split many years ago. But the history, the funny part of the history today is these sheds, very sturdy built, big planks of wood, double-sided. This was supposedly a grain house. It has a floor in it. You can see the chickens in there, and super secure. Not so much these days, but it was. And that is where I was told that the grains that were collected on the farm, or seeds were kept in little stalls and removable slats. It was pretty cool before we converted it to chin coop, that you could move the slats up and down in the individual stalls to accommodate the bulk of the grains that were stored in there. We have abundant raspberry, not very productive raspberry bushes, but they are certainly overgrown. We have some lovely apple trees. These are super productive. The horses love our apple trees, and so does Rowan. So here's the story of the day. We're walking back. We're probably going to end up seeing Mr. Knopf's second homestead that he built on this swatch of land. But the story is that noticing that the buildings are up on stones, they moved them around. Yes, this thing's huge, but they did when Mr. Knopf, you can see his home through the trees there, rebuilt another home over there. He moved one of these houses, one of these storage buildings, one of these sheds, all the way over there to his property. And just until recently, a new young man bought that property, and he had to tear it down. It looked identical to this one, except it wasn't red, and had to dismantle it. I think probably from time it was getting old, and probably maybe an eyesore, maybe not so safe for people to be around. So that is the history. Mr. Knopf bought this property, I think 1956. There's women, I'll say middle-aged to be kind. One of the girl's mothers used to babysit the Knopf children in her house. She talked to me about how the upstairs was nicely done, and we'll get in the house to see it eventually. Needs some spring cleaning. We got a little clutter in there. It's hard to. Mike's going to redo it, so we don't really spend a lot of time working on it, but I'll let you see the inside. We'll work on that. But anyway, so the mom would babysit the Knopf children up there. Said it was lovely. Mr. Knopf did a lot of work to the house. When he did some splitting, here's another quick story. We'll walk over. I have these purple doors. I do not know who painted these doors purple. They're quack-a-doodle. Very large, nice garage though, but strange purple doors. When the property was split, apparently we didn't own our driveway, the second driveway here. Mr. Knopf, as he was failing in health, came over and talked to me about the fact I was unaware when we bought the house that he knew, though, that we didn't actually own a 14-foot swatch to like 18 sliver all the way down to the pine trees and back of 14 foot into the driveway over here, because the surveyor, when they were dividing the property, had a miscalculation of some sort, and that property was still owned by Mr. Nolf. So he went ahead and sold that to Mike and I for $1. So now I own my driveway over there, which we had already thought we already did. But so here is the story. Here's the tie-in. Why is there a funky add-in? I'll add a spooky story too, because I have a zillion of them. But why is there a funky add-in onto the upper deck of our house there? Why? Because when you divorce your wife, Mr. Nolf, if you're Mr. Nolf, you build yourself a section. And that's what that man did. He built himself a section on that house, and that's where he resided until they departed ways, until he bought his own until he built his own house on the swatch of land over there that they divided. But that is why, you can see it up there. There's a second story of a dormer type room. But if you're going to divorce your wife and you want to still stay in the same dwelling, you build yourself your own section of the house. And that's what that man did. Spooky stories. I've heard... sitting in the kitchen, I've heard it like 3 times. Children laughing in the living room. Not my children. These are little kids laughing. No, I'm not crazy. I just let it go. If I didn't, I think I would be crazy. So tomorrow or the next day after that, we'll have a story about seeing something, seeing someone. And we'll talk a little about the demise of another person in our front lawn. Ooh, spooky. Mysteries. So again, thank you for listening. I'm just doing it for entertainment value, hopefully to share with friends and family and encourage them to share their stories too in this time of storytelling to get us all through. Thanks again for listening.